Five, four, three, two, one.
Hello.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching in the world.
Guten Tag, guten Abend, bonjour.
Yes, it's actually quite nice. Oh, there's a plane going across the sky at the moment. I can see it's jet stream. There's one or two.
Going
Right
to left.
It's going towards Kingsthorpe at the moment.
Oh, right. He's probably heading up Edinburgh.
Yeah. Yes, we're back after what a bad week last week was.
All right, here we go. Evening, Terry, Zeb, Richard, and
Mick.
Mick. Let's get to there.
Yes, what a week. I mean, last Thursday I was not very well. I had a banging headache all day.
And
it just wouldn't go away. And I thought, no, I was starting to feel more groggy, so I called it a day. And then we had to cancel Madness on Saturday because we had a major computer foul up.
Hello, Pulsar.
Good evening. Yeah, we had a very major issue, which has been resolved. So, yeah, so we've had a few teething problems. So everything's.
Let's have a look here.
Will I review the new Stereo Lab at some stage?
I'm just having a look here to see what's scheduled at the moment.
Is it out yet, Seb? Because if it's out, I might be able to fit it in somewhere.
If it's out and you've got the time, you could slot it in next week.
Yeah. Okay. See how things go. Yeah. I might add it next week, as a surprise. If not, we'll just schedule it in at some stage for you. No problem.
Has he not had his treat yet?
Oh, he's had that. That's gone.
You want the one that takes an extra 5 minutes. The rabbit ear.
Yeah, we haven't got no rabbit ears, have we? Yes. Anyway, so we're going to see what we're going to see the shakers and movers the last 14 days. So since the last. To be quite honest, Richard, I don't bother.
Nah, it's a waste of time. Like $550 US plus taxes, shipping. It'll cost more than 600.
No, not for me. Not for me, I'm afraid. I like the Beatles, but not that much. I'm quite happy with what I got. I can listen to it. So yeah, I'm not. Don't think that the Beatles are the be all and end all of music in this country. So funny that. Anyway, last 14 days we've had 20,474 views. Yeah, it is a tad spendy. Yeah, I totally agree. And 34 brand new subscribers. So thank you very much. So this is the bit everyone likes. What's been going on? Well, at number 3, My little 4th anniversary tier ranking I did on the Status Quo, the first track on each album, 99 people. Laura Nairo has been flying this week, last couple of weeks, 104. And that's the top 10 singles. What's it going to be like when we rank Laura's albums? And at number 1, believe it or not, Status Quo. That very first video.
Yeah, but then there's a reason we know.
Yeah, I think so as well. 117 people. Top Short. The one I put out on Monday, bank holiday?
Mm-hmm.
The new shortened version of Iron Maiden, I Was There, 27th of November 1988.
That's right. You weren't the only one who was there.
Yes, there's quite a few people were there.
Yes. No, I mean in the comments.
No, yeah, that was us. That was nice to see. 1,121. So in the last 28 days, we've had 49,544 views. That's a lot of views in a month.
Yes. Yes, the big one is yet to come.
Yes, 74 new subscribers. So thank you very much, everybody. It's always appreciated. So what's been watching? Number 3, here we go. Status Quo, 224. Laura Nairo, top 10, 231. And songs that failed to make the top 20, 395.
There were a few in there that caught me out, and I reckon they caught an awful lot of people out.
Yes.
But that must have been in the top to note. Didn't break it.
No. Top Short, the Deep Purple Mark 3 thing I did. Mark 2 thing I did. 1,784. Not bad. Okay, the big numbers. Right? Since we started.
Right.
7,071,870.
You mean 771,000?
That's what
Yeah. You're through the 750,000 mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Yes. And then we've got now 2,815. Well, Dave, if I ever see it, I will let you know. I have seen it a couple of times, so I'll keep my eyes and ears peeled for you.
That week we could always ask Michael in Japan.
Yeah, we will. I'm sure it's about somewhere. So we always do the top 5 on this because there's 5 videos that up and down, up and down, up and down. 5th place, 4,550, the Mike Oldfield ranking. Derek Riggs at 4,569. So Michael Oldfield is not far behind.
It's sticking around about the 19 mark.
Yeah. Jethro Tull has opened up a bit of a lead between Derek now. He's Jethro Tull at 4,678. Slade cementing their 2nd place, 5,480. But no one's going to catch Status Quo now.
No, because they've broken another barrier.
Yes, they've gone through 11,000 views. It's at 11,090 views. And the Paul Diano tribute is now at 4,515. That'll be a hard one to catch. What have I been listening to? Not too much because I've had other things I like to do this week. So there hasn't been much music. There has been music on, but I haven't had time to concentrate because I've had to, do lots of things. So we've listened to 5 of the 13 of Madness, 5 not of the 9 of Cold Chisel, Jimmy Barnes at 6 out of the 20 Little Feet, 6 of 18, and Wire 6 of 17. So I have been listening to a little bit when I've had them moments, but I've had so much to do this week. It's been unreal.
Plus future ladies' nights and retros and other stuff that's going on.
And birthdays.
Yes. Birthdays. That's becoming a touchy subject.
Yes. Lots of birthdays. All right. So that's that bit done. So I'm just getting used to a new system here. So I hope I don't disappear. No, I haven't. Anyway, we got hatches, matches, and should we start again? Hatches, matches, and dispatches. A few from last week we thought we'd throw in because there are some significant ones that we didn't want to pay our tributes to and etc. So it's time for that. I know where Rocky is.
Yeah, he's sitting by the front door. Come on.
Yeah, he's been very patient. So I'll hand you over to Dave.
Okay. Welcome back, folks. Good to see you all again. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, dispatches, those who have departed this earthly sphere. Since the last time we were here, on the 13th, Billy Earhart, American country keyboardist with the amazing Rhythm Aces, he passed away. On the 15th, Kenneth Biles, a Jamaican conscious roots reggae singer. You might know him better by the names Junior Biles, Chubby, or King Chubby. Also on the 15th, Charles Strauss. Who the hell is Charles Strauss? He was an American composer and lyricist. The reason you might know his music, because he was a composer. He wrote the music for Broadway musicals. Specifically, he's best known for Bye Bye Birdie, Applause, and Annie. Little Orphan Annie and Daddy Warbucks. He wrote the music for that. On the 19th, the death was announced of Chris Hagar, American glam metal guitarist with the bands Rough Cut and Mickey Rat, and Adam Ramey, American new metal singer with the Dropout Kings. They both passed. The 20th saw the departure of Bo Michael Tretow, Swedish record producer and audio engineer, musician and composer, and best known for his work for nearly 14 years, I think it was, with ABBA. On the 22nd, Daniel Williams, an American metalcore drummer with the band The Devil Wears Prada. He, unfortunately, was on the plane that crashed in San Diego. 25th saw the departure of Michael Sumler, American R&B and soul singer. He was in Kool and the Gang. The 26th saw the Rick Derringer, American rock singer, songwriter, and guitarist with the McCoys. He passed. And on the 27th, Brian Kellogg, a Scottish jazz pianist, left this earthly sphere. So there's your dispatches. As Iain said, we've got 2 lots of hatches. So we've got 6 from last week that we've kept over. 66 last week. Stephen Patrick Morrissey. Yes, Morrissey, singer-songwriter, former frontman of the Smiths. 66. He's got his bus pass. Hard to believe. 70 last week was Jeremy David Hounsell Dammers. British musician, founder, keyboard player, and primary songwriter of the Coventry-based ska band The Specials, or The Special, aka. Funnily enough, he was born in Tamil Nadu, in India, in a place called Uttakamund. I thought you'd like to know that. 72 last week was Stuart Elliott. Stuart Alexander Elliott, to be precise, English drummer, composer, producer, original drummer for Steve Harley in the Cockney Rebel. But while he was with them, he became a session drummer, and he played for artists such as Kate Bush, Al Stewart, the Alan Parsons Project, Roger Daltrey, Paul McCartney, Claudio Baglioni, amongst others. 75 last week. Very big name. Bernard John Taupin. Bernie Taupin. Lyricist and visual artist, best known for his partnership with Elton John, which has been recognized as one of the most successful music partnerships of its kind in history. 77 last week was Doug Gray, an American singer who was the founder member and lead vocalist of the Marshall Tucker Band. And 86, granddad last week, was Ian Robertson Underwood, woodwind keyboards player. He was an original member of Frank Zappa's Mothers of Invention. So that's last week. This week, like I say, we've got 13. So 47 today is Per Pell, or Pella Almqvist, better known as Howlin' Pell Almqvist, Swedish singer-songwriter and lead singer of the garage rock band The Hives. 50 today, and Ian went, you what? Yes, 50. Melanie Janina Brown. You know her as Mel B or Melanie B. We know her best as Scary Spice. English singer, songwriter, TV personality, actress, and all-round good dude. 53 today is Simon Robin David Jones. Who? Simon Jones, English bass guitarist. He played bass and provided the occasional backing vocals for The Verve. 58 today is Noel Thomas David Gallagher. Yes, that Noel Gallagher. Musician, singer, songwriter, primary songwriter, lead guitarist, co-lead vocalist of Oasis, and founder of Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. Why am I telling you all this? 62 today is Bailey Alexander Cook. You know him better as Blaze Bailey. English heavy metal singer, lead singer of Wolfsbane from 84 to 94, and since they reformed since 2010. But he was also the lead singer of Iron Maiden from 1994 to 1999.
Yes, the less we talk about that, the better.
64 today, we have a pair of birthdays. Melissa Lou Etheridge, American singer, songwriter, musician, and guitarist. And John Miceli, drummer for Meatloaf's backing band, the Neverland Express. But he formerly played with Rainbow as well. Caught Ian out with that one until he remembered. 66 today. Mel George Gaynor, British drummer, singer, recording artist, best known as the longtime drummer for Simple Minds.
Yeah, I saw him drum. He's brilliant.
Yeah. 69 today. This is the first of a couple. Latoya Yvonne Jackson, American singer, TV personality. She's the fifth child and middle daughter of the Jackson family. 72 today is Daniel Robert Elfman, American film composer, singer, songwriter, musician, lead vocalist, primary songwriter for the new wave band Oingo Boingo. That was back in the early 80s. But he's done films and TV scores. He's best known for Batman, Edward Scissorhands, and who did you say, Ian?
I'm not going to do it all because
Yeah, there you go. Copyright.
Yeah, but you know the one I mean.
Yeah,
Caramba. Yeah, before you think, the Americans are not sure how to pronounce if it's Noel Gallagher or Gallagher.
Gallagher. Well, I say Gallagher. It all depends whether you're from England, Ireland, North England, South England, North Ireland, South Ireland. It varies.
Gallagher, but most people call him Noel Gallagher. There you go.
Yeah.
I've cleared that one up.
75 today, and this is number 2, Maureen Rylette, or better known as Rebby Jackson Brown, the American singer. She's the eldest child of the Jackson family. 76 today, and got this without any prompting, Francis Dominic Nicholas Michael Rossi. What a lovely set of names. OBE. Obvious Co-founder, lead singer, lead guitarist, but he's the sole continuous member of Status Quo. That's only because somebody departed. And 88, and granddad today is Ermin Schmidt. Now, some of our European friends will remember the name. Ian remembered it whenever he got told that he's a German keyboardist and composer, but he's a founding member of the band Can. He also composed an awful lot of film scores, but it was Can, and he was going, what? He's still alive? Yes. Ermin's alive.
He's alive.
To paraphrase one of Ian's favourite movies. Matches. We've got 2 plus 2. Last week, we had 2 weddings. 2010, Canadian singer-songwriter Alanis Morissette married American rapper Mario Treadway. Still married as far as we know. And 2011, American R&B singer Keisha Cole. She married an NBA basketball player, Daniel Gibson, who played for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They got divorced 6 years later in 2017. This week, we've no weddings, but we have a pair of divorces, a pair of dismatches. So back in 1952, country music legend Hank Williams and Audrey Shepherd were granted divorce for the second and final time after 7 years of marriage. Their first, you'll like this one, their first divorce was in 1948, 4 years previously. So 7 years, get married, 3 years, get divorced, get remarried, 4 years, get divorced again. I don't know. And in 2010, and a lot of red-blooded men went, yes, because 5-time Grammy Award singer Shania Twain divorced music producer Mutt Lange after 14 years of marriage. And Ian went, oh, thank God for that. Got rid of him.
Oh, he's not my favourite producer.
No, he's not. You hate his majority of his stuff.
Yeah, Mr. Smooth.
Yes. So we've got some sophomore drones to catch up on.
Yes.
So on the 15th of May, you went for Madness.
I did.
And so did everybody else. It was a runaway victory, 26-5 over Bad Manners. Last week, we didn't have a live poll. You all went, thank you very much. You all went and voted on the community or posts tab. And it was between Iron Maiden and Saxon. Now, Ian chose Saxon. You lot didn't. By 24 votes to 4, Iron Maiden won.
I lost that one.
Yes, this week it's UFO versus Hawkwind. Or, depending on if you read the title, it's Hawkwind versus UFO. Currently, it's 7-1 to Hawkwind.
I don't know what it's doing.
That's in the community tab or the old community page. I haven't looked.
I'll have a look if I can get into it.
It's showing me that there have been 10 votes, and it's 6-4 to Hawkwind.
Ooh.
So I will need to just make a little note of that. So it's currently overall it's 13-5 to Hawkwind at the moment.
What's the scores on the doors? Who's
6-4 to Hawkwind.
No, me versus the
crikey! I've no idea. I'd have to go back and have a look.
Yeah,
because I haven't been keeping a record this time round.
No weather report. I did do a weather report this morning.
Yes.
Right at the end.
It was a delayed weather report.
Yeah, I didn't forget. I didn't.
Yes, it was there. Yes, Dave, Mutt did need a sleep bath. Especially since Mutt was having an affair with the next door neighbor, so she went and had an affair with the neighbor's husband.
Yes, there's a right old bazaar going on, that wasn't it?
Yes, there was.
Yes.
Uh,
But the trouble is with the neighbours, it weren't like us, over the garden fence, probably 3 miles away.
yes. It was your estate or mine, dear.
Yeah. Anyway, I suppose I better tell you what we're doing next week, as it's a new start of a new month.
Oh, hello. Did someone come up and talk about religion and politics?
No, someone said about Jesus. And I just put, as you all know, we don't do 2 things we don't preach here, and that's politics and religion.
Oh, right, Pulsar, thank you. Didn't see that. James Lowe, vocalist for The Electric Prunes, passed on the 22nd.
Can I do the weather report? Well, this morning it was overcast, but the sun was breaking through, but it was very windy.
It was sunny, breezy until 1 o'clock, and the rain has been in ever since.
Yeah, it's quite breezy now. The leaves are moving. So anyway, let's bring up the what's on next week.
Can I see a few? Dylan's Infidels has already been done. Yeah.
Well, Dave's doing that. We'll go into what's on next week. So it's 2nd of June. And just to let you know, Saturday we are doing Madness. So there you go.
Sorry, I've just seen Nick's comment about Urban Schmidt playing left back for Eintracht Frankfurt.
So anyway, what's happening Monday? Well, Richard McCook will be happy because we're going to do the Vampire Weekend ranking. Also, Perfect Side, a great album, self-titled The Christians, which gets a lot of ear playing over here from yours truly since Nick got it for me. It's a great album. Really enjoy that one. And then it takes us to Tuesday. We're going into where Frank said, I'm retiring. And for someone that retired, he made 3 albums in the 1970s. And then we've got a retro ranking special. My favourite songs by The Alarm, which is a tribute to Mike Peters that sadly passed away not very long ago. Wednesday, Wednesday, it's marathons, but what I've called them is the Summer Dozens, the June Dozens. All these are 12 album bands, and we're going to kick off with a great little southern rock band called The Outlaws. Nothing to do with Richie Blackmore Outlaws, but it's the American band, and they're a pretty good band. Next Thursday, a sophomore drone, 2 American bands, one being my favourite, and that is Blue Oyster Cult and Tyranny and Mutation against Hotter Than Hell by Kiss. Then we've got a pick a mix, which is Painting by Numbers. And this is the David Bowie studio album covers I'll be ranking next Thursday. Takes us to a very busy Friday. Got 2 birthdays. We've got Mark Scott and we've got a certain Pulsar. And we're going to be looking at Mark's US birthday and Pulsar's 5th birthday, 1958. Also, we'll be doing a live album ranking of Ash. And then we've got a one-off album. And this one actually comes from Simon. He put me onto this band. They have got a new album coming out, hopefully this year. And it's a band called Wet Leg. 2 girls from the south of England doing some great stuff. And just to remind you, on Saturday, we are doing the Madness singles tier ranking 79 to 85. that we had to postpone last week because of the computer going. The computer went no. Oh, so yeah, yes, they are excellent. I've really enjoyed listening to them, Richard, as well. Yeah. Yeah, you'll find out what I think of it next week. So that's what's happening next week. So let's get rid of that. There we go. So I don't know why Dave's gone. He's gone all. It's all quiet.
Yes, I was sitting, clicking and typing and whatnot.
Oh,
So
right.
don't disturb you while you're in full flow.
Okay. So yeah. So tonight I thought I'm going to start.
Dave's on form tonight.
Where do you get the? Are you the bloke that writes Christmas cracker jokes? Yes.
Oh dear.
Yes, so I thought tonight we'll talk about gigs and but not the gigs you see in the big stadiums. It's I thought we'd talk about grassroots gigs in your local club.
Pub rock and
Yeah,
the local club and whatnot.
Loads of kids just having a good time. Look at what I mean. In the 80s, Northampton we had bands on all week. Somewhere there was music.
Well, Dad, there was one that you and PK found them first, and then he brought us along to see them, and they were a band called Soul Patrol. They were absolutely bloody brilliant.
Yeah,
I just really enjoyed going and listening to them and watching them perform.
Yeah, I mean, it was they were as it says, Soul Patrol. They were like the equivalent of the Commitments, weren't they?
Really? Yes, yeah, they were. I think that's where they got some of their inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, they did. I mean, they did a lot of the stuff that like Mustang Sally and.
But they also crossed over and did other stuff.
Yeah, they were a really good.
They were
fun band. I really loved watching them. I mean, they played a lot more on Sundays, which was ideal because our day in the day would, especially on a Grand Prix Sunday, it'd be meet up at the pub with the newspapers and before the game started.
And whoever had won on the Saturday bought the first round.
Yeah, we used to have a little competition about the grid. You know, it was quite fun. And first thing that our friend PK would do was scan for what was on when they used to put it in the the local. You'd get the local rag, bring that down, and say, okay, this is what music. He never said we're going to see a band. It was a glass of beer and some music.
Yeah, and it wasn't a case of we're going to see this band. It was a case of right, we're going here.
Yeah,
wouldn't tell you who was on.
Yeah, so that was our Sunday evenings sorted. But before that time, in my youth, a pub called the Five Bells on a Sunday night. It was rock night. Wow, did we have some great bands. We had some bands that, one of the bands that used to play there regular was a band called the Killer Bees. Now, people probably don't know the name Killer Bees, but if I say the name Del Bromham, there'll be a lot of people know who Del Bromham is. Yes, he was the man from Stray. And obviously, Killer Bees, a lot of their set was the songs that I'd written and a huge chunk of Stray songs as well that Del had written. And I got to know Del very well. First name things. What a nice guy he was. He still is, I suppose. Yeah. But he was always good. And he invited Lee and myself down to a pub in Brentford where they were playing. as his guests. Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't just Northampton. I mean,
Milton Keynes we used to go to a lot as well.
yeah, but Wolverton.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I mean, Wolverton.
Wolverton, oh my God. I mean, the pub was on the corner. The disco, the performing area was downstairs in the basement, and it was tiny. The band took up half the area.
Got a bit like the Harbour Lights. Yeah, 5-piece rock band in there.
Yeah, they took up 60% of the room.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that pub off Abington Square, down one of the alleys. It was the size of a shoebox.
Oh God, yes, a tiny little place.
Yeah, and they used to have gigs in there.
Yes, that was standing room only at the
Yeah,
bar.
I'll tell you, he used to play in there. I can't remember. All I remember, his first name was Tom. He was a folk singer. He used to wear the multicoloured patchwork suits.
Yes, I know who you mean. Yes.
Yes, he was a character around Northampton. But when he was playing up there, word got that he'd got his guitar with him. He was up, you couldn't move.
It's there because people enjoyed listening to him. I mean, you didn't have to be a big rock name to get a lot of people.
Yeah, that's the pub we're on about, Nick, the Crawford Arms.
Yeah, that's yes.
Yes.
Spot on, Nick. Well done.
It's still a great venue for music to this day.
And what was the one across, slightly across the square, 15 yards up and to the left? Oh,
yeah. That's the one where? Is that the one? Where was that gig that we've sort of not policed it, but?
Oh no! Oh God!
Was that the Crawford Arms, or was that the one round the corner?
That was. Oh wait, no. We policed for Iain and Wendy.
No, this was over in Milton Keynes. This was over in Wolverton.
Oh, yes, it was. It was the Crawford Arms that we policed.
Yeah,
yes.
The one that we got bad. We was told we'd do it, even though we didn't know nothing about it.
Yes, yeah. PK organised it.
Yeah, and apparently he did. What did he say? Oh, I know 2 blokes that'll do it.
Yeah,
they don't know it yet.
It's free entry, free beer. Okay, right. Yes.
Free room.
Yes, that was it. We got to stay over for free.
Yes. But then again, we had been there a
lot of times. And then in Hanslope Village. Is it a band called The Vegas? I always wonder what
It's a good one from Terry Wilson. Back in the 70s, there used to be a band, the Vickers in Southend, who were great. Wonder what happened to their singer. Her name was Alison Moyet. What happened to Alison Moyet?
Crikey. I
remember seeing a band in the King Billy, and they had this young, exciting guitarist called Neil Shepherd.
Why do I know that name?
Well, he went to play in Tigers of Pang Tang. He did a little touring bit with Ozzy Osbourne. And then there was a band called Ragdoll, who I was great friends with. 2 brothers, Wayne and David Cox. If you watch this, hi guys. And a certain person from a certain prog band called the Enid, who happened to have a studio in Northampton. And that is the great Mr. Richard Godfrey. And they hadn't got a drummer. They were going on tour. So Wayne packed his drums up and went and toured with the Enid. And he played a few tracks on a couple of their albums. So there you go.
Nice one.
Yes, we used to. Of another band, we used to say. I mean, Dave, remember Tough at the Top?
Now, did we see them?
They played at the Romany a lot.
That's where I'm thinking. Yes.
Yeah, beware of the flowers, because the flowers are gonna get
Oh
you.
God,
They
yes.
were a punky. They did a punk version of Country Roads.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Oh, now yes. Now you've triggered the memory. Yes.
Yeah, they did a lot. They were really into glam rock as well. They used to do 20th Century Boy, Bullroy Blitz.
Yeah, but
And
they punked it up.
yeah, Bryn used to do. He was a poet as well, and he used to do little poems as well.
Yes, you get a little monologue. So you're standing there, sort of recovering from the last blast, and all of a sudden, this little voice would come out. The flowers were blue and the sky was green. What
Yeah,
the hell's going on?
There was some of the poems. It led into the song. One was the Ballroom Blitz.
Oh, Nick's on form.
Oh, good grief!
Oh, correct.
Oh. I think there was another band we used to see regular. They were called Engine. And
I think that was you and PK. I missed them.
yeah, the guy came on stage in bedroom slippers.
Yes, I remember you telling me about this.
Yes.
PK was howling with laughter.
Yeah, another good band I used to see a lot round about that time as well. There was a couple I'm going to show. I've got some albums. I actually brought albums at the gig. I can't remember the name of them now. They were in Northampton. Ambush. We used to see them a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, the bass player used to wear them black and white checkered tight jeans.
Yeah. Spray on jeans.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes.
Mike's seen the Ednas. I have seen Richard Godfrey perform in the King Billy. Very prompt gig. I think a band let Roger down, and
you didn't do that very often.
No, they did. And I think it was just a call. Richard, I need some help, and he got a few musicians together, and they just come down and played all sorts. It was a prog thing. They didn't just do Enid stuff. They did all sorts. They did Gentle Giant, and we was all freaking out because we don't have bands like that. And you've got a superstar in our midst. So
yeah. I mean, one of the best places to go and see rock bands was the King Billy.
I've seen some good ones and I've seen some bad ones.
Yes. The howling, screeching, whatever's.
Yeah, that's the first play. One of my schoolmates, he got a band together with his brother. Remember Dave Harrison? Yeah, his first band, and they did. What were they called? Motor Priest. And what they did. And here he is, Van Morrison's number one fan.
Oh yeah.
So we had this band they had together. They called it Motor Priest. So they did Motorhead covers and Judas Priest covers.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and then they evolved into another band, and they became like a ZZ Top tribute band.
Oh God!
They were brilliant at doing ZZ Top because Dave used to they used to wear the beards, and they were over exaggerated beards.
Oh yeah.
Dusty's and Billy's were big, but these were big.
Yeah, these were down to their knees.
Yeah. Well, you have to, don't you? You have to.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure Mike must have seen so many good pub bands in your time?
Yeah. Most of which I've sort of sadly forgotten. But there used to be a time where you could go into certain pubs, and on the weekend or even during the week, you'd get a band playing.
Mm-hmm.
Just be a band in the corner, and you'd see them, and you wouldn't know who they were. It was always good fun. I mean, there's something about live music, isn't there?
Yeah.
There is. And whenever it's not lift music,
Yeah,
sort of stuff
yeah,
you get in
exactly.
restaurants and whatnot. I don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
There used to be a nightclub in Northampton, Sterling's, and there'd be a disco up on the third floor. There was a piano bar on the second floor, and there was a stage area on the first floor, and there'd be somebody playing in there. You'd have three things going on one night.
Yeah.
And I used to love going in and sitting in the piano bar.
Yeah. I mean, this is it. I was listening to an album this afternoon, and it was a folk album. Because I don't know if you know now that I'm officially the Pope of folk now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, who gave you the title?
You might have heard someone from Australia calling me
Yeah,
that.
yes, I did. I did hear this, and I chuckled. Wait, I mean, he didn't say your name first, but I knew who he was on about.
Yeah, but it's a Dave Swarbrick and Simon Nicol album. So of course, both of them were in Fairport Convention at some point. Swarbrick on the fiddle and Simon Nicol on the guitar, and they did a live gig, and it was for Radio Manchester, and it was at a pub called the White Bear in Massam, and Massam is the home of Theakston's beer. It's actually like the brewery's pub, basically. And they used to have quite a few sort of folk gigs there. And, unfortunately, I didn't get to that one. But, it was one of those things. And it just sounds like everyone's having a sort of fantastic time.
We've got a direction.
Yeah,
the Black Prince, I've seen some, apart from the Soap Girls, I've seen some.
Yeah. He may well have done, Andy. He may well have done. Yeah.
The Dope of Folk. I heard the Pope of it.
Now this is a band that I do know of, because they did come to Northampton.
Oh yeah, the Hamsters. I've got a CD of theirs somewhere. They're really good, aren't they?
Yes, they played. Where did I see them? I think they were at the Roadmender.
Probably.
Yeah. Another band that played in the Five Bells were the Groundhogs.
Wow, that must have been good.
It was a terrific gig. I mean, I've said this: the Supreme Politics.
Don't spray it! Don't spray everywhere, Mike.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I prefer yours, Jack, to Andy's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick still can't get over. So
oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but this band we were talking before you come on, Mike, Tough at the Top, you would have loved them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were very punky. They did a lot, how do you fancy a punk version of Country Roads by John Denver?
Yeah.
Ballroom Blitz.
They take anything and everything and punk it.
Yeah. You know what? They sound like one of those bands where you wouldn't really want to sort of sit down in your living room and listen to their music. But they absolutely smash it live.
Exactly. They were they were perfect for a Saturday night.
Yeah. Just a good laugh. Yeah.
The lead singer, Bryn, he was one of them guys. If you was out on a night he weren't playing and he saw you, he'd come and sit with you. They wouldn't, they'd come out and they'd sit with the like the fans, and they recorded a live CD at the Romany pub, and I'm on the cover.
All
But
right.
about 30 other people were all going. I mean, the pub doesn't exist now because it's now a block of flats.
Unfortunately, but
Yeah.
that was one of the prime locations, the Romany.
Yeah, because it's got a little stage.
Yeah.
It weren't very big. It was only about that big, but it was a proper stage. And if you played the Romany in the back room, you were on your way in Northampton.
Yeah, I mean, in Leeds, there's a pub that was. I mean, it was well, the building that it's not a pub anymore, unfortunately. But the building where it's situated is just about 15-minute walk from my house, and it was called the Fooled Green, and it really came into its own during, the punk years. It was what you might call a dangerous pub. That you don't want to you won't want to look at anybody the wrong way, if you know what I mean. Certain people there, but it was always great. It was always absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I saw all sorts of bands there.
Yeah, the chances of incidental damage were very high.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
Speak of the devil,
Fairport. Yeah, Fairport are going on forever, aren't they, Terry? I mean, they just don't seem to give up. Yeah.
Nice.
Hi, mate.
Evening, Nick. I love it, the hunker punk. I love it.
You certainly are, yeah.
There he is, the leader of the Anti-Harmonica League.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, well, I had to say something, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
That was good, that was.
Yeah. Did you like it? I mean, it was good fun to do.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to get you trained up with your Vinyl Richie impersonations.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. But, I mean, what Ben didn't understand is that I was doing what Richie would sound like if he came from Leeds.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't tell the difference, could you?
No, exactly, yeah. Yeah, it would have been like looking in a mirror. Yeah.
That was a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, going to the King. There used to be a pub in Kettering we used to go to see rock bands. I can't remember the name of it.
Was that on? That was on the square, wasn't it?
Nick will probably there was a rock pub in Kettering on the main drag, wasn't there?
The Rising Sun.
That's it.
Yes.
There were a few bands in there.
Oh God!
And then
that used to be the bikers pub.
Yeah.
Because that's where I ended up parking one night after a mad maneuver on the way over.
They were all right, actually, the bikers. There was a bit of, when we used to go by on the old scooters and that, if some of them were outside having a beer and a fag and that, there'd be a bit of Mickey taking, but they were all right. I think there was a bit of mutual respect on both sides,
That's it.
Yeah, there had to be.
There wasn't
Otherwise, there'd be open warfare. But yeah.
There was a pub in Wellingborough we used to go in as well. Don't think it's a pub now, but
there you go. Andy's asking, did you ever go down to Haddon Hall?
Haddon Hall, yes, I did. Yeah, that was another sort of like regular haunt in the early to mid '80s for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Northampton was lucky because you had the Roadmender and then you had the King Billy and the Black Prince and a couple of others. And they sort of acted as feeders from the smaller pubs who, a local group, boys who were local to that pub. They'd create a band. Mind if we have a go? Can we play? Yes. And they'd get fed in. If they were any good, they got fed up the chain. And it would be those 4 or 5 big pubs that if you got in there, yes, you'd made it. You were on the road.
Yeah, if you got to play the Billy on a Friday night, you were
well in. Yes.
You were well in.
Yeah, and if you got to the road,
big in Northamptonshire.
Yeah. if you got on stage at the Roadmender, yes, you'd made it.
Yeah. I mean, Leeds was a really strange, sort of for years and years. And I mean, it's not been that long, since Leeds Arena was built. But that Leeds just didn't have a large venue. There was a Queen's Hall, which was a sort of an old tram shed that was pretty sort of cavernous, but it was horrible. But it didn't have a proper sort of venue. So, Leeds University, the refectory was probably the biggest concert space at the time through the 70s and that, and that's where obviously the Who played.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Live in Leeds was recorded.
Toya's in Leeds next year.
What?
Toya's playing in Leeds next year.
Oh yeah.
Shall we get Simon a ticket?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Yeah, he'd love it, wouldn't he? Yeah.
She I just announced the venues for a tour next year, and Leeds is in there, but I couldn't for the life of me remember which club it is or whatever.
Yeah.
Dave's come up with another one for you, the Drog of Prague.
That's what I put the Drog of Prague. That's one of mine. Yeah, I mean, what the thing about in Northampton back in the 80s and 90s, we had venues out. 60. How old is she?
Oh, you can go off people, can't you?
Yeah. She's yeah. I mean, she's not a day
how
over 30.
dare you, sir?
Not a day over 30. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, there was outside of the town, in where I used to live, Kingsthorpe, we had the King Billy. So on a Sunday night, we would go to the King Billy because there was always a rock band on. Well, I've just got a couple of albums I'm going to show that from that I brought in there. I'll do this one first because I've got to be careful where I put my hands.
Right.
This is a band called Cougar. They were from Wales, and they regularly came up to Northampton to the Five Bells to play. And this is the album they brought out at the time. It's just good old-fashioned rock music.
I was going to say, are they a Spinal Tap tribute band?
Yeah, sort of. They got that sort of thing. But they came up. They played all the time, and they brought this album out. And I don't know how many people have got this album across the border.
Yeah, you've shown it now.
Yeah, not quickly. And the other band that used to play, these were a great blues band called the DTs. They were from Leicester and Market Harborough. They played great rhythm and blues. They brought this album out. I think I've shown this before, but look what label they signed to. Those of us of the know will know who actually were on this label.
Ah, Mooncrest.
Yes, the same label as Nazareth.
I know. Unfortunately, I can't stand Nazareth. I really can't stand them.
But you can tell this is ever so thick. This album, you can,
Yeah. Oh, lovely. Yeah.
No, they They were a great band, and they actually signed the front of the album for me as well.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, nice one.
And Simon Hicklin, the lead singer, he played in the Malt Shovel on it because like every first Wednesday of the month they have a blues night, and he came in he was there one night performing, and I hadn't probably seen him for 20 years.
Wow.
And I went up to him and went, "Hello, Simon, do you remember me?" 5 Bells, Northampton.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that were good fun days. You know, you got the following. And when I was working in daycare, when I organised a gig, it was so easy for me to get bands. They were chipping at to come and play a charity gig. Toyer in the Attic by Arrows.
It's just as well Nick can't see. I don't know. He might be able to see it, but we can't see him.
He's done a disappearing it. Yeah, I mean, I remember. I mean, you were saying, Mike, about bands you could go and see bands 3 or 4 times a week at one stage.
Yeah, and and it was a lot of the time it was free, wasn't it?
Yeah, free. I mean, in Northampton on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, you'd go to gigs. You know, we wouldn't go nightclubbing. We knew where, and the word of mouth. Oh, do you know so and so's playing tomorrow night in? And if it was in Wellingborough, they'd organise. We'd all meet at the Billy and go over in convoy, and that's it was about supporting local bands, so they were not playing to one man and his dog.
Yeah. I mean that's it. I mean, local bands, tend to get a sort of a local following, don't they?
Yeah.
So you'd go to the gigs and you'd see the same people.
Yeah.
Each time.
Yeah, Tough at the Top were like that. Wherever they played.
Yeah.
Same with Soul Patrol.
Soul Patrol was the same. Yeah, and Del Bromham's Killer Bees, because he was a member of the Stray, he'd play anywhere in Northamptonshire and Bedfordshire because that's where he's from. The pubs would be packed.
Yep.
Word of mouth. Del Bromham from Stray. He never used to say anything. It'd just be the Killer Bees. He didn't make Del Bromham ex Stray. He said they turned up, but people knew who Del was.
Right.
And it was basically it was a Stray gig.
Well, yeah, why not? And in a pub, yeah.
In a pub.
I mean, I mean, there was bands in Leeds in the mid '80s, and I used to see them, quite a lot. And they were called Really, and they had an absolutely brilliant saxophone player called Snake Davis. The only thing about Snake is he had a bit of an ego. He knew he was good, So in the end, he decided he was too big for Really, and he formed his own band called Snake Davis and his Alligator Shoes. But they're pretty good stuff. And there's a band that I've shown a couple of their albums before, and that's Brendan Croker and the 5 O'Clock Shadows. They used to play around all the little venues around Leeds, West Yorkshire. Great sort of blues band, really. Oh,
there we go. He's back again.
Yeah, I mean, one of my mates, he'd got a brother that was 10 years older than us, and he saw Bauhaus in pubs in Northampton.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, to see Bauhaus in a pub in Northampton was.
I've never seen them. I've never ever seen them.
They're from my town, and I've never seen them.
Yeah.
But I was of an age that I wasn't really.
Yeah, you're early 80s. You would have been a bit young, wouldn't you?
A bit young to go down the pub. But another band we used to see, they were called Dumpy's Rusty Nuts. You've heard of them? They did a lot of Slade covers.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they actually once opened for Status Quo in, I think, 1987 at Birmingham, and we were. And he did say, anyone that goes to these pubs, the King Billy, loads of people. And they opened that note up with Mr. Steamhammer number, but it's Hear Me Calling. But they did it more in the style of Slade.
Right.
Yeah, I saw them play at the Mildenhall. Was on the same bill at Mildenhall Blues Festival. Don't know what they were doing at a blues festival, but they were on the bill.
Oh, Richard. Unlucky.
Oh, it's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I missed a few gigs, because of COVID.
Yeah,
the tickets and everything, and they never happened.
Yeah, I mean, I missed Fish gig twice, but we eventually got round to see.
Yeah,
what was that? Third time unlucky.
Well, yeah, because that was his retirement tour, wasn't it?
Yeah, we finally got to see him on his retirement for yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go and see Iron Maiden for the last time in a couple of weeks' time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't feel too disappointed.
Yeah, that'll be an experience.
I haven't seen Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
God, in 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's when you see the Zimmer frames being wheeled out ready.
Yeah.
I don't think they're at that stage. Yeah, I mean, they've got their new drummer who's been going down a storm. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a bit ambivalent about what going to see my teenage sort of heroes. When they're in their 60s and 70s.
yeah.
Just doesn't seem right. Yeah, but I mean, one really good thing that they do at the Brood now, and that's sort of they give sort of local bands a bit of a platform. So, you might go to a gig and there'd be like 3 support acts, which tended to be maybe a band that was sort of touring with the band you came to see. And then a couple of others that would get about 20 minutes each that be sort of local bands. And, I've seen some really, really good bands. I remember I saw a band about 2 years ago, and they're called Fuzz Lightyear. And, and the guitar playing, I mean, what can I say? You could feel it more than hear it. It was just... it was just shaking your body to bits. But they were brilliant. Very psyche, very, lots of feedback, lots of fuzz. They were absolutely brilliant.
I mean, it's like that support band we saw with the Soap Girls, Nick. They were pretty good, weren't they?
Can't remember what they were called.
Or can I? But they were good. There were 3 young.
Well, that narrows the field down a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, but there were 3 local lads.
Yeah. No, they were good.
The crowd appreciated them. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's the thing.
The other band didn't show up, did they?
No.
Oh, that's naughty.
That's naughty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one of the funniest things we saw at the 5 Bells was a Canadian singer called Thor.
Is it the one I'm thinking of?
Blown up hot
water bottles.
Yeah.
That was his trick, weren't it? Yeah.
Someone said to us, "Don't go near the front. Stay back."
I didn't know he was Canadian. I thought he was from Iceland or something.
No, he was a Canadian, and we said they just said, "Don't go near the front," and then this rubber. He was wearing them swimming goggles.
Yeah. Oh no.
I mean, another not a pub band, but I saw Girls' School in the Five Bells.
Pulsar missed out,
Nectar. Oh,
No.
but they haven't done a makeup gig.
No.
They haven't got a replacement.
I mean that's the problem, Pulsar. I mean the bands that I was sort of due to see got cancelled during COVID. They tended to be sort of non-UK bands, and they just didn't come back.
Yeah, because it costs too much to come back just for.
Yeah, exactly. They just write it off. Yeah.
I mean, who's it? There's a band coming over for Planet Rock. They came over last year because Planet Rock do this thing. They have a gig weekend in someplace down in South Wales, and they had Black Star Riders.
Ooh.
The only UK concert they played was for Planet Rock's gig weekend.
Wow.
And they buggered off again.
I've seen them. They're really good.
Yeah. The demand for tickets was outstanding. They were sold out within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's the nearest thing you're going to get to Thin Lizzy these days. So
yeah,
I did see a good Thin Lizzy tribute band, and I saw them a couple of times in a pub, and then they played the Stables at Milton Keynes. But they're called Limehouse Lizzy.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah,
they're brilliant. You know, you close your eyes. I mean, the lead singer is mixed race, and he's got dreads, but he holds his bass just like Phil did, and he's got the little, and you close your eyes and you think it's Phil. He's that good, and all the little innuendos that Phil used to come out with, and they were a good band. But I don't know. I mean, these days bands today they're more pretentious. I've seen a couple, and you go, "Where's they're not doing? They're taking it too serious." They're
really. So, but maybe you're watching the wrong band, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, especially the more the youngsters. You go and see people my age; they're still acting the buffoon and just doing it for the pure. But the trouble is, I think they all want to be rock stars now, don't they? I mean,
I don't know. I think that's a bit unfair. You know, I've seen lots of young bands. You know, lots of new bands, and you know, you don't tend to get that attitude, that sort of prima donna sort of attitude. But yeah.
Yeah, Terry said about Limehouse, is it? Yeah, they are brilliant. I mean, like my mates in Ragdoll, they used to, you know, they did proper hair metal, but when you talk to them and find out what they listened to, it wasn't what they were playing. They all had long hair. They frizzed it up, and they just went out and played hair metal, which was big at the time, and they rode on that. That's very clever marketing. They thought, we've got the hair, let's frizz it up, let's go and play Bon Jovi, Winger, Kiss, and all that stuff. But you go and listen to their music, you know, I mean, the two brothers are Irish, so they like folk music, you know. But on stage, you know, they really ripped it up. And they were good, you know. They took their name from the Aerosmith Ragdoll,
Right?
You know, they were good. They were entertaining. They took the Mickey out of themselves.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's okay. But I mean, there was that sort of an oi band, you know, that, you know, serious music, and Nick knows, I think I'm going to talk about, and that's Jeffrey Oicott. And they're sort of like very much a sort of, you know, a Yorkshire-based sort of band. I don't think they really do a lot of work outside of Yorkshire, but you know, they're really good. And
Yeah.
and you know, for those of you that don't know, they're an oi band. They're from Yorkshire, so they're called Jeffrey Oicott because allegedly one of the greatest cricketers of all time was from Yorkshire, and the ever sort of despicable Jeffrey Boycott. Great cricketer, if you like, somebody who's going to plod his way to 100 runs in about 3 days. I could never see the attraction, but you know, for lots of people in Yorkshire, he's like a god, you know. But so Jeffrey Oicott, I think, is a really good name for a Yorkshire oi band.
I have no hair. No, yes, I haven't.
Yeah. Wig look.
Trouble is, though, if they only do one sort of area,
Tonight
then
is the comedy fest.
you're sort of oversaturating it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to get out and about a bit, don't they? And
Let's have a look here.
Yeah. But I mean, tribute bands, it's big business, isn't it?
oh god, yeah, I've seen some really good ones over the
You know,
years.
because again, you know, at Broodnell, you get, you know, various sort of tribute bands sort of turn up, and they might do 3 nights in a row, all sold out.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few Status Quo ones. I've seen a few Marillion ones. I've seen a good Genesis one. Oh, they don't play anything past Wind and Wuthering.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so it's, you know, we saw them once, and they were doing. They actually did a track off the debut album.
Oh God. Yeah.
As an acoustic thing. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. You know, I think what might be really, really fun, you know, if you had a sort of festival of, you know, tribute bands, and they're all the tribute bands from the same act, and you could sort of compare and contrast them.
Yeah, I've seen a good Blondie one.
Yeah.
They were really good. And I've seen a band called the Unpretenders.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Bootleg Blondie.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because actually Clem Burke has, you know, played with them a few times.
Right. You know, I said
From
about
the Jam, pretty good as well.
Yeah, there is a pretty good.
Yeah.
I've seen the Counterfeit Stones as well. They're pretty good.
you know, I mentioned Planet Rock.
Yeah.
This is this year. Planet Rock Stock 2025. It's November. Down in what do they call it? Treg.
Yep.
It's down in South Wales. There we go. Treco Bay in Porthcawl.
All right. Yeah.
27th to the 30th, right? Deliberately whiz up. So, headliners for the Thursday night are the Choir Boys.
Oh, brilliant.
Massive Wagons on the Friday, Ugly Kid Joe on the Saturday, and they haven't got the headliner announced for the Sunday yet. But here you go. Planet Rock Stock, Thursday. Choir Boys, Bywater, Don Patlansky, Steve Young. Friday, Massive Wagon, Virgin Marys, The Hot Dam, Bo Gree and the Apocalypse, Gypsy Pistoleros. Saturday, Ugly Kid Joe, LN, Wayward Sons. Who is that? Black Orchid Empire is that one.
Yeah.
BOE.
Wayward
Sunday,
Sons, I think, are a Kansas tribute band.
quite possibly.
Didn't I have to listen to the Virgin Marys?
Yes, that was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did.
Mhm.
they were all right, but just
Not your cup of tea.
at one point in my life, it would have been my sort of thing.
But
But
that band Empire are from Northampton.
All right.
who?
Empire.
99% of the weekend accommodation tickets have sold out. I mean,
Wow.
you're talking some serious prices.
Yeah,
Gold,
but would you want to
two-bedroom
say?
unit, checking
would
in
you-
on the Thursday, checking out on the Monday, 776 quid.
Bloody
700
hell.
quid. all told.
I'm just looking at Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night, curry night with KK Downing.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Come and have a curry. Have a curry with the guy. But
There's
would
only
you want to
27 tickets left.
Yeah, wow.
So how
There you
would
go.
you fancy a November night on Creco Bay?
This is it. Apparently, it goes
It'd be a
down.
bit
that
parky,
weekend.
wouldn't it?
I reckon so. Yeah. That's
Well,
a downside, isn't it?
It seems to be a whatchamacallit. Oh God, not a theme park, a holiday camp sort of thing. There you go, Park Dean Holiday Park in Wales. So, if you want to do something like that, you've got to book, well in advance. But what I did want to show you, Ian, is down here a little bit below. Metallica in 2026. Susie Quattro, Robin Ford, and Jethro Tull's Curiosity Tour.
I wonder what that will be.
Right.
April and May 26. They're going to be in Birmingham.
You see, as much as I love Jethro Tull, I don't know if I want to go and see him.
Well, if I scroll down here, Jethro Tull, 3rd of May, Birmingham Symphony Hall, yeah?
All right.
These are the green tickets down by the stage.
Yeah.
£60.50.
To stand up.
No, seated at the front of the bloody stage. You're seated down here. Here's the stage here. You're in this area. These are the green
I
seats.
can't see that because all you got is the thing.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. We can't see the.
Oh, is that right? Is that
Yeah.
Let's do that. So can you see it sort of changing?
No.
No.
No,
Oh, that's
no. We can't see it.
That's a pity. But you've got the stage down at the bottom right area. The seating is in front of the stage. £60.50. Which is not bloody bad.
Oh, I saw Jethro Tull a couple of times back in the 80s. They were pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, Susie Quattro.
62 years in the music industry. Let's see. Where's she doing? Glasgow, Gateshead, Manchester, Watford, Oxford, Southend, the London Palladium, the Forum Bath, Birmingham Symphony Hall.
Yeah.
Is that the Watford Gap Services?
Wow.
She'd be worth seeing.
I didn't think she was still doing this stuff. I saw a documentary about her on I think it was on Sky Arts or something recently, and she kind of she did. She did the whole Happy Days thing, didn't she?
Yeah.
And it turned out that she could act as well as sing. And then she got married to what's his name?
The bass player?
Yeah, the bass player. Yeah, and so she kind of turned her back on the sort of rock and roll, and she was in sort of musical theatre. She played Annie Oakley in Annie Get Your Gun.
Yep.
And other stuff, and then she decided, and she was sort of kind of juggling that with a sort of like kind of normal family life. So I'm surprised she's she's touring. So yeah.
This one attracted my attention. 4 UK concerts: Glasgow, Cardiff, and then London.
That'll be expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
They'll all be sold out and all, won't they?
Yeah, they're in the round. Pantera, Avatar play on Sunday in London. Gojira and Not Loose on the Friday.
I've seen them. I've been very close, so I don't care.
Purely out of interest, I just want to have a look and see how much.
Oh, that's cool.
25 quid.
Huh.
Legacy pre-sale, member pre-sale priority from O2. They're not giving anything away. They're not giving anything away.
London Stadium, that's a bugger to get to.
Yeah, I can well imagine. So I'm gonna close that. And
Is there free chicken in the basket with every ticket?
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, it might be worth it then, Nick.
Yeah.
To this one and go, because I've just worked out what I didn't do is do that and go.
Anyway, hello, Michael. Hope you're well.
Oh, Michael.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. Done that. Back to that. There we go. Susie was the placement. That's Len Tucky. Yeah. He was. That's right. Susie played bass. He was the lead guitar. Yes.
That's it. Yeah. They got married, didn't they? Yeah.
If you're a Susie Quattro collector, like Nick is a collector of Gary Newman's cars, Japan is the country for you. Her records are everywhere and in pristine condition and with compilations I've never seen before.
Oh, now who was asking about Ian? You said if you saw an album.
Oh, the UFO album, Flying. The second UFO album. Dave, the pickup artist, is looking for it.
Yes, UFO 2, Flying. So we were wondering, Michael, what were the chances of it being available in Japan?
I'm sure high. I don't recall the cover. I only recall the bubblegum cover. And
yes, the one with the thing going. With the then two UFO, very cheap UFOs. Yeah. Anyway, I want to show. I'm going to show another record, but I was talking to Mike on the phone about this one.
yeah,
The Mud album, Mud Rock 2, and the different black label.
Yeah.
Which I have not got an album with this on, but it's that rack
Yeah.
label.
Yeah, it's nice. I've not seen that because there's two different labels that you get on the singles.
Yeah.
And there's the one where you've got the sailing ship is sort of coming directly at you, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I've not actually seen that label before.
Oh, I haven't. When I took it out for the first time, I thought, wow, I haven't seen that one because Mud Rock is on the one that we all love and know. But that wasn't bad for a $5.
Yeah.
It's got covers on. They're all cover songs, Living Doll, One Night, Tennessee Hasses.
Oh yeah, but
Old Boy's on here, Diana Honolulu, Tobacco Road, but they're all fun tracks. Yes, I don't need to be big no more, Mr. Producer.
I'll let you do that. I'm answering a question.
Oh, Pulsar's come up.
What's that?
There we go. There's an answer to that.
$102. God.
Wow. Yeah.
There you go, Andy. Len Tucky was Scottish.
Scottish. Yeah, so I don't know if we've been talking about bands we used to see in pubs, bars.
Yes.
What was you watching when you was in your youth? Did you see any interesting bands or from in New York or wherever you was at the time?
I saw Talking Heads before their first record came out. Before Talking Heads,
Wow. Excellent.
because they were a few years ahead of me at Rhode Island School of Design, and so they would come up to Providence and play at a place called Lupo's Heartbreak Hotel, and it was just like it was just a restaurant. So we were right, like maybe 10 feet away from the band, and I really felt like he was testing out his act and his idiosyncrasies, David Byrne, on smaller audiences, because he really was so detached. I mean, there was no banter whatsoever with the crowd. I mean, he got into this kind of like no personality kind of a persona, and no, I wouldn't use the word wacko, but just kind of like he was definitely practiced and rehearsed. I mean, that was the thing that he wanted to get forward, that he wasn't going to engage in the crowd like a normal musician would.
The flat deadpan.
Yeah. So it was more a kind of performance art
Yes,
sort of performance.
definitely, because they came from an art school. I mean, and they were living in New York, and their peers were were artists and performance artists. So yeah. A lot of those bands adopted that.
Yeah, Zeb's got a question for you, Michael. Did you see them before Jerry Harrison joined the band?
No, I didn't even know that there was a period that he wasn't in the band, but it must have been very brief. No, he was with the band. It was. They were tight, and they were clearly doing the material from '77. In fact, the whole show was the album, was their first record. We saw them a few times.
Yeah, didn't Jefferson Airplane play in a restaurant back in 1967 in San Francisco?
Probably.
I think I've found a live recording of them playing at some restaurant.
Probably. There were a lot of small clubs in San Francisco, like the I-Beam on Haight Street. I saw Duran Duran there when they were first touring,
I was
and
going to say that must have been their very first trip to America.
yeah, it was. It was a good show.
Had
And
they released Planet Earth, the album, by then, or?
I think they toured and supported the release of the record. No British act comes to the States before a record is released. They typically do it in timing with the release so they can sell them.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you can understand it, can't you?
Yeah,
it's an expensive business crossing the Atlantic to do a tour. So, you've got to try and make it worth your while.
And the Teardrop Explodes I saw at the IB. That was those were great shows.
Yeah. I can imagine. I reckon they'd have been pretty decent.
I mean, Julian Cope on stage could be quite eccentric. He could either be engaging with his fans or totally being avant-garde. There's clips of him where has no interest in the crowd.
Yeah, not a lot of banter going forth because they don't. Because I think that British bands don't know what to expect from an American audience, especially when they're introducing music for the first time. And they were definitely all introducing their music for the first time, even Talking Heads.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, pre-album. That's so we just basically they were using these small venues to
Yeah.
Practice.
work on their acts to hone their acts.
yeah.
You know,
You don't get bands doing that. They want to be playing 60,000 seater stadiums on their first tour.
Mm.
Yeah, and they've got 3 songs to their name. Yes, that's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, back in the day where you had to work hard to get your record contracts and you got that by playing gigs and then outcome. I mean, Iron Maiden got their contract like that, just performing and people from EMI turning up.
Yeah, it's a different world, though. It's a completely different world, Ian. I mean, back in the day, that's how that's how you got your name out there. You went on tour. You did, you did gigs. Hopefully, music journalists would see you, and you get a write up. You might get a play on the radio. Nowadays, it's all about your social media presence.
I know.
And bands, some bands are really, really savvy about it. And I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but every now and then, or probably almost on a daily basis, some band is mentioned who are apparently really huge, and I've not heard of them, or I've not heard any of their music, and it's because there's this sort of, it's very much an online thing. And
I mean, I think a band that really exposes social media so well, and that's Liliac, the family, the sibling band. They really, they tour, but they use social media to their advantage. There's always stuff on the thing, and they're becoming got a cult following now.
Yeah, but I mean, this is it. It's getting a bit of traction, isn't it? You want to be a name. You want people to have heard of you. And like we say, the world has changed. It used to be a very sort of physical thing. You'd have to do gigs. You'd have to,
right.
have to have people to come and watch you. But now you don't. It's just different.
Yeah, I mean, there's a band that's I've mentioned before, Mission Souls in the Philippines. They've got millions of subscribers and views, and all they're doing is cover songs, but they're doing them so well, and they've got this huge following.
Yeah,
I mean, and they're all. I mean, the main band of them. The drummer's about 10. One of the guitarists and singers 13. You've got one that's 15, one that's 16, and mum and dad. And then there's a band that was set up during COVID, the Clark family. I mean, it's dad and his kids. They're huge on YouTube. They are very talented kids. And I think the eldest is only 12, 13. The youngest is, I think, 10.
but I mean, who are they appealing to?
To everybody.
Really?
Yeah, they do a lot of Beatles stuff and.
Well, yeah. So I'm just thinking from the point of view of sort of like, in the UK, say, a Radio 1 audience.
Probably.
Yeah.
Really.
I say probably
because they sound dreadful.
There's that many stations now on BBC Radio. There's Radio 1, and there's about 3 versions of Radio 1. Then there's 6 Music, and I've given up on BBC Radio. I listen to 2 stations now.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's Radio 2 where you go to die.
Radio 2 where you go to die. Radio Ulster, when Ulster are playing at home, you might get live commentary because you don't see them on the TV anymore. But the rest of the time, my music now comes off Spotify or on the radio. It's Planet Rock.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's it. There's so much choice, isn't there?
Mm.
You know.
So gone are the days sending your tape. A band was sending their tape to John Peel.
Mm.
Yeah.
He welcomed people sending him music, new stuff that he could listen to, and he'd go back and say, go away and practice and send me a tape in a year's time, or I'm passing this on to someone, or I'll play it on, whatever show. Keep your ears open. And that would be how a band got introduced by John Peel.
Yeah.
And the fact that he put them on the radio, an A&R man would sit up and he'd go, "Oh, right, okay, we'd better have a look at these."
Well,
there's loads of John Peel radio shows on the on YouTube.
Yeah.
There are, aren't there? Yeah, and they're definitely worth listening to, aren't they, Nick?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you go. There's the perfect question. Is there anyone these days remotely as influential as John Peel?
I don't think there is. I don't think there is.
I don't.
Because I mean, you're saying about sort of an A&R man might have might hear the stuff on the radio and sign the band. I think the big problem in the late 70s is the A&R men for the big record companies were all sort of men in suits that weren't interested in doing anything other than promoting the dinosaurs that they had on their labels already.
This is it. It was a case of
really. I mean, Peel was very much a sort of champion of the DIY scene, and a lot of the sort of small record labels sort of came out of that kind of attitude.
Mm.
Because he gave these bands a sort of, he gave them an airing, he gave them a little bit of publicity that they would never have got otherwise. Because, I mean, Dave, what daytime Radio 1 used to be like.
Yeah.
A rigid playlist.
Yes, and the old payola stuff.
Yeah. It was just, it was the major record labels would rule the roost, wouldn't they?
Yeah. And you'd hear the same songs over and over and over and over and over, and it got boring. And then along came MTV, and they had to wake up because MTV changed all the rules. You've got a visual representation of what the song was about, and it changed the landscape. And then people had to start thinking about, right, we can record a song, but do we need to do a video as well to get noticed?
Yeah.
No, you record a song, you put it on a tape, and you send it into John Peel, and he'll give you a bit of airplay if he liked it.
It got to the stage, though, that people were writing songs with a video in mind.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I would tend to disagree, Dave, because I think MTV was a bit of an abomination, really.
It was, but it also it changed the landscape, and it changed the way people looked and listened to music.
Yeah.
You'd go into bars all over the place, and there'd be huge TV screens playing the latest pop list, or whatever way you want to term it.
And it was dreadful.
But it was all non-stop video, and it was this, for want of a better phrase, bubblegum music. Yeah.
It became, sort of like, say, sort of like in the early 70s in the UK. So maybe sort of Radio 1, BBC generally with Top of the Pops and everything.
Mm.
They were sort of setting the scene for the UK. So you've got this sort of this kind of bubble that had all the sort of this rubbish in it,
Yeah,
But
which then got
MTV
promoted
turned this
on.
into sort of like an international phenomenon. So, you know,
This is
we
what I
had
mean.
the
They opened up the
dreadful
audience.
American bands as well as the dreadful British bands.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah,
do you
I
know
mean-
what
I mean,
MTV, for me, sort of MTV is epitomised by Dire Straits' Money for Nothing, an attempt to satirise something while becoming it.
yes.
Yes.
It's absolutely awful as far as I'm concerned. You know, I really need to get on the soapbox about this. I just think the whole MTV thing was just, you know, what's happening to the world?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, when you look at half of the rock bands, all of a sudden it was all smoothie. You know, Def Leppard became this sort of White Snake. They changed so they could make it in America. You know,
This is it. They changed the rules. They changed the landscape. They changed how people thought and saw and heard music, because you didn't. Whenever MTV came along with all the videos, you didn't just hear the music. Mentally, you saw the video going.
Yeah, but it was,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
Richard's got it.
I think it's like the
Video killed
bands.
the radio star.
Yeah, that was actually quite a good video, I must admit. But
It was, but he got it dead right.
yeah, but
And
don't you think though that it was? Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, Dave, that sort of bands would sort of make, you know, that they'd make videos that they knew would be MTV friendly.
Sure.
I'll call it
Yeah.
MTV.
And I think that's why bands would sort of change a bit. But there was still, you know, the rest of the music scene, the sort of, you know, the smaller labels, the sort of, you know, the independent sector. And
yes, but that was more. How can I put it? It wasn't as widespread as
no,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
But the real laboratory was the Partridge Family and the Monkees TV show. I mean, that's where this was all cooked up,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then it just became
Yeah.
singles.
Yeah,
yeah. That you've got these faceless sort of like executives who are sort of like ruling the roost, aren't they?
Mhm.
You know, they decide what's happening, and it's just so it's just so fake, so false, you know. And you know, luckily there was this sort of thriving sector, you know. But you know, if
Well,
we
they
took
were
a video,
they were greasing the palms of the people who ran the radio stations.
yeah, exactly.
yeah. I've got a book on that. It's some of the, you know, the AR men would pay DJs.
Yeah, it was called
Yeah.
payola.
Yeah, but there were some DJs that went, "No, I'm not having none of this."
Hmm.
I mean, it
Yeah.
changed. I mean, it changed a lot of bands. I mean, was it? You know, you take Rush, all of a sudden they become more of a pop band. You know, you go, did they do this out of because they wanted to, or did the powers that be said, "You will make an album like this. You will do it like this."
But there you go. MTV's 120 Minutes introduced me to Smith's, Shoegaze, Manchester, Industrial, etc. So there's that. I think, it opened you up to new stuff, which if the A&R men sitting in their ivory towers ruling the roost over the BBC and the playlists, you wouldn't get to hear.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm, you know, I'm a little bit older than you, Jack. So I think by the time MTV came along, you know, it wasn't really for me. I was more set in my ways. I knew how I was sort of like consuming music, and it was very much through the sort of like the, you know, the independent record scene. You know, a lot of sort of John Peel and sort of some of the other sort of you know, nighttime Radio 1 stuff. So maybe that's it, you know. But I still, you know, I still stand by what I say is that sort of, you know, a lot of the
If it weren't for MTV and the Kerrang channel, I'd never have seen half these videos because the chances of you seeing them on Top of the Pops were virtually zilch.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other time you could really see them was on these really late night, early hours of the morning sort
Yeah,
of
well, I mean,
shows.
UTV used to have a
Yeah.
headbangers ball at about 3 o'clock in the morning. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't want to be staying up at 3 o'clock watching head banging music. You know, why couldn't we have it prime time? And they had it for 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
Then come
And then
along
you had Channel 4 as well. Midnight to about 2 a.m. There'd be music at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there was that thing in the 80s, wasn't there, with the sort of the Channel 4 sort of youth programming, or youth as it was pronounced. You know, and that bloody that gobby woman, Janet Street Porter, was sort of in charge of it, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Janet Street Porter. There was Magenta Divine.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? Who's the other one?
Jenny Powell.
Yes. But she was later. She wasn't in at the start.
Who was that Scottish blonde woman? Muriel.
Muriel
Sparks? No.
Gray.
No. I don't know, but she used
Muriel Gray.
No, just said that.
The mouth on
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't listening, Nick. Sorry.
Pay attention, young man. Pay attention.
I will next time. Sorry about that. Yeah. But that was it, you know, because there was a tube, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Sort of like tea time on a Friday, so it was designed. You could watch it. You could watch the tube before you went out in the evening.
That's right. Live from Newcastle.
Yeah, with
You'd get the odd video on there, didn't you? But it was mostly live stuff.
That's right. Yeah. And they had some decent bands, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it was, you know, it survived. You know, it was actually still good, even though it's presented by Jules Holland and Paul Yates.
Oh, God. And Leslie Ash, Muriel Gay, Gary James.
Muriel Gray was right. I always thought she was a sensible one. She seemed to have a sort of like an ear for the music. Yeah. Paul Yates was just happy to be the centre of attention, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yes. Leslie Ash. I was so surprised that Leslie Ash did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember if you were sometimes in the King Billy on a Friday night, come 10 o'clock, the jukebox would go off. And he'd put Roger, the landlord at the time, used to put Tommy Vance on.
Yes.
Yeah. How many pubs now would turn off the jukebox to put on the Friday rock show?
Is he still alive?
No, Tommy's passed. But, you know, we was, again, heavy metal music was 2 hours on a Friday night.
Yeah. It was part of the Radio 1 sort of... nighttime schedule, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you get from about 8 o'clock till midnight, wasn't it? You would get some decent music on Radio 1.
Well, years ago, I was a driver's mate with my uncle, and we used to work from about 4 o'clock till about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we got to hear all these programs every night.
Yeah.
You'd have Paul Jones doing R&B.
Mm-hmm.
Whispering Bob Harris doing Americana.
Yeah.
You'd have your Tommy Vances and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but you have your folk night as well with Bob Harris and...
Yeah. I mean... Do
you know how long...
At one time, I don't think it was on for very many years, but it was Alexa's Corner.
Yeah.
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 Do you know how long Tommy Vance has gone?
No.
20 years.
Jeez.
Wow.
God.
Gosh.
6th of March 2005.
Really? God.
I think this is where I get envy of America, because they had rock radio stations, you know, when all on all day. When we was left to have it 2 hours on a Friday night. You know, I'm so envying that America had got it right. That you could listen to rock radio all day, couldn't you? Or
24/7 every day.
That is one thing America got right.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say about that is that you can become a bit set in your ways. So if you say, well, I like rock music, and you listen to a rock music channel, then all you hear is rock music. And maybe it's sort of like, it kind of cuts off avenues for listening to sort of other music.
Yeah,
And I think, sort of like John Peel was good because, he was constantly sort of playing sort of new music.
yeah, all sorts of stuff.
So things were
Like a college radio
sort of-
station. Like a college radio station. I mean, you guys had college radio stations, right? I mean, or no?
No, we
Oh, see, we did.
Yeah, but very, very local. I mean, I remember Leeds University had a radio station, but it was very, very local. It was kind of like campus wide, and that was it. Very low powered, and nobody really sort of listened to it anyway. Andy Kershaw was on it for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what wasn't there an American DJ called Wolfman Jack or something?
Yes.
Yeah, among
Yeah.
others. But he was he was pretty early on.
Yeah.
Proponent of new emerging music. But I mean, in the big cities, you had disc jockeys who played the role of John Peel. I mean, there were a lot of radio stations that had bands come in to play, and also they would broadcast specific shows. I know Bruce Springsteen got a big boost from WNEW in New York when what was that record that came out, the black and white record with him and the saxophone player, I think it's Born to Run. That just sent him, made him famous because they broadcast one of his shows in New Jersey live, just the audio, and you got it live. I mean, it was a live show. So they did certain things like that to boost people's careers. So yeah, it was very experimental.
Yeah, Michael, weren't we talking about MC5 a few months ago?
Yes.
And there's sort of fragments of a gig, isn't there? Wasn't that
There
broadcast live on television?
It's a gig at an outdoor concert, but also yes, there is footage of MC5 on French TV playing live.
Yeah, no, this is the outdoor gig I'm thinking of.
It is, yeah. And it's in I think it's in Detroit, and they play it's like 3 songs. Kick Out the Jams and 2 other songs, but the performance is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's in black and white, and the lead singer's wearing these incredibly cheap tight pants, and
but it's so punk, It
really is.
Yeah,
it was very raw.
So a lot of it's so funny. I always make jokes like like people just didn't bring movie cameras or any type of filming devices to shows in the 60s and the 70s. They just didn't do it. I mean, they brought cassette recorders, to make bootlegs, but the whole photography thing and taking Super 8, that wasn't all that. There's just very little footage from that era. I mean, you get Woodstock and Monterey Pop. I mean, those were planned to have filming crews there. But when you talk about legendary shows at different venues like Mabuhay Gardens in San Francisco and other places, it's just still photography. And actually, a lot of those photographers are selling those shots now. But nobody had movie cameras.
No, it's like when Queen when they played their last ever gig with Freddie at Nebworth Park. It wasn't filmed. There was no there's a bit of footage that people took, but there is not even a bootleg of that concert.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? But I can remember that sort of, in the 70s, and of course, this was all obviously before sort of like, phone cameras and everything.
Yeah.
But very much before. But you know, sometimes the venues and possibly the sort of bands would be absolutely paranoid about people sneaking in a cassette tape or something.
Mm.
And, you know, I can remember being sort of like frisked on my way into a gig in case I had a cassette recorder with me. And yeah, so it's not surprising. It's not surprising that there aren't, you know, that there isn't footage, you know, and yeah.
Well, they weren't really that good. They didn't really have much in the way of handheld. I mean,
No, yeah.
No, I mean,
Super 8.
I don't know. You know, you go to some of these legendary gigs, and you know, all you've got is those memories
hmm.
Yeah.
they're personal to the people who were there. I think there's a couple of recordings of Queen at Nebworth that they put on the little Live Magic album, but most of that came from Wembley.
Was Freddie looking ill at the time?
No, he was absolutely on top form, camping it up and doing what he did. But you know, it's like the reunion concert of Genesis in '82 at Milton Keynes Bowl. There is no official.
Yeah, good for you, Paul. Well.
Yeah, there's no official music recordings of that. All bootlegs.
Yeah.
So it's like when Marillion played Milton Keynes. The only recordings of that are people's bootlegs.
Yeah, and
I've got one.
Quality is questionable, isn't it?
It's very questionable, but I mean, I did put it on the other week, just for the you know, and it brought all the memories of that night. I remember watching him do it, you know, and the jokes and all the banter, and you can tell how old he is because when he introduced Peter Gervais, he says the man at C&A. I mean, how long has C&A been out of?
The band did not take an official recording of that show that night.
Nope, there were no official recordings of that show.
No, and yet it's like Jimi Hendrix. It's like every time he played guitar, it seemed like there was a tape on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Richard. That is a pet hate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I can remember sort of like a few years ago when they first started, they were doing the I think it's when they were doing the Race for Space tour, public service broadcasting. And at the start of their gig, they did a public information film. And it was about sort of people, you know, the annoying person that holds up a sort of camera phone in front of you or an iPad, you know, in front of you for the whole gig to sort of film it.
I wouldn't upset.
And basically it was saying that sort of, you know, I can't remember exactly how it went, but the upshot was the person that does this will lose all their friends and they would die sad and lonely. Yeah.
You know, they have these extension rods that are like 10 feet long because when people are walking through the Shibuya Scramble in Tokyo, I see them all the time now. Tourists bring these extension rods, and it just would make so much sense to bring that to a concert. You know?
I know. It's incredible, isn't it?
You mean the selfie stick?
Yeah.
It's not good. Yeah, anyway, can I just go back to something else? Because I was just looking at the comments, and Andy mentioned KEXP. And that's a brilliant radio station. So it's sort of, that's it. Community funded, you know, on the internet. And like you say, you know, they've got a, you know, they've got a brilliant YouTube presence. So you get, you know, that they do countless sort of, you know, little sort of like live shows in the studios. And it's absolutely brilliant. And, you know, there are lots of bands that I didn't know before that I've seen on KEXP and thought they're great, you know, and they're up in Seattle, aren't they?
Anyway,
somebody mentioned the Emperor Roscoe in
yeah,
the comments.
Yeah, he's still going. He's still
Is he
broadcasting.
really? He must be ancient.
He must be, yeah. I've got
He's
I got one
80
of those reggae, split singles a while ago, and there's an Emperor Roscoe track on that.
He's
I've
82.
got one.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is, and I'm too lazy to sort of like try and get it out. But yeah,
No, I'll dig it out.
yeah,
probably
Roscoe,
for
the
next
Emperor
week.
Roscoe was a bit of a legend, wasn't he, on
Oh.
radio in the early 70s?
Yeah, weird and wacky. I
Yeah.
never heard anything like it on the radio.
No,
you
no,
know, I used to like listening to on a Saturday on radio one, Paul Gambaccini, because he played. They was doing a lot of American.
yeah,
He was one that was. That's where I really got into American rock because of Paul Gambaccini.
yeah.
You know, he'd play Blue Oyster Cult, and that's how I got into Blue Oyster Cult. Really, not Don't Fear the Reaper. I knew that song, but
Right.
Paul Gambaccini playing, and Kansas and things like that.
Yeah.
And I love listening to Paul Gambaccini. He's got one of them voices that hooks you in, and he knows what he's talking about. It's the way he delivers it, and he gets you going.
I was going to say that, Ian. He was, really sort of knowledgeable about, he knew the music that he was talking about and he was playing, didn't he?
Yeah, anything. The US Billboard, it was in his brain, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that the music that he was into was particularly the music I was into, but you've got to give him a lot of respect because he was a professional.
Oh yeah, I mean,
He was a music lover.
I can remember hearing in the background somebody opened the door to his studio whenever he was broadcasting, and I could hear a sound in the background. And I thought, I know that sound. It foxed me, and I was on a couple of days off. Went into work, and I'm working away, and all of a sudden I hear the exact same sound going off in the background. And I turned round. It was an old teletype machine. He was getting stuff across from the States.
Wow.
And he was getting the latest billboard, so he was really up to date. He wasn't waiting for the papers. He was getting it sent over on teletype. It cost a bloody fortune back then.
Brilliant.
He championed 10cc's I'm Not in Love.
Right.
And then going back to Emperor Roscoe, I first came across Emperor Roscoe on Radio Caroline.
Yeah, he was
was on Caroline before Radio 1.
Yeah. Well, so many of them weren't we?
Yeah. How many of us snuck into bed, stuck our little radios in under the pillow, and then late at night, 208 Radio Luxembourg.
Yeah. Transistor radio and an earpiece, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then you had to keep moving it around because the signal.
The signal for Radio Luxembourg in the evenings was not the greatest, was it?
No.
All sorts of atmospheric sort of interference.
It moved. The bounce pattern moved. You had to go with the flow. Created your own little dance with that.
Anyway, folks, you do realise it's the last Thursday of the month. So you know what happens, don't you?
Right. Yeah.
I've got an idea.
Oh yeah.
Oh, come on then.
We've already mentioned like MTV and music videos.
Mm-hmm.
How about putting this on the board? Favorite music videos, and you could even hold up a record, to illustrate the video. Obviously, you can't play the video.
Okay, I'll write that down and I'll add it to the list when we find out.
All right. There you go.
That'll be good. Yeah.
He's still broadcasting on Radio Caroline from LA. The magic of Tinternet.
Wow. Radio Caroline's in LA, is it? Wow.
No, it's still sort of here, but it's on the internet. It's not the ship.
Yeah. Well, it can be anywhere in the world, can't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Roscoe is 82.
Wow.
His birthday is Boxing Day.
I bet he's still as weird and wacky as ever, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Sure he is. So here we go, folks. Up comes that famous wheel with our Rocky going round.
Let's
Okay.
make it full screen. There you go.
There we go. We've got Jack Frost, Born to be Wild, Corkers and Clunkers,
Like
The
still.
Boys Are Back in Town, Jacket Covers, To Be or Not to Be, and Calendars. So let's see what we're going to be showing next week. Ooh.
It's not past again. Boys,
Boys Are Back in Town. Well, I remember when we did girls' names.
all
Right.
Okay. Songs with boys' names.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it says AE, but I couldn't. It wouldn't go in, so I had to put something to make it.
It should have just put the letter R.
Yeah, should have done. But there we go. So that's what we're going to be doing next week.
Right.
Oh.
There we go. Boom.
That's gone.
Excellent.
Anyway, it's nice to see everyone back. I do apologise for me having headaches last week, but I'd have been grouchy.
Yeah, Record Hounds got it right. Signal drift. And
Right,
Caroline is on medium wave 648 and the internet.
Yeah.
They are legit these days.
And there's a suggestion from crap videos from great bands or albums.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of those, won't there, Richard?
Yeah. I'll put that one on as well. We'll do.
Yeah.
We'll put good and bad, so we've got the contrast.
Okay.
So I'll put the good videos on, and then we'll have
Yeah.
another time.
Yeah. Actually, before we go,
Yes.
I've just got to show Michael something.
Yes.
You know, a while ago that you talked about your least favourite breakfast food.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'd mentioned this to my lad a while ago, and you know, he and his partner in Japan, sort of late summer, and he had some, and he thought it was fine. And when they came round last week, he brought this. So
Ah, my goodness.
yeah, so I had this. Yeah.
Did you smell it? Did you smell it?
I did, and I ate it, and I thought it was quite nice. My wife thinks differently. I think she's with you on that one, Michael. But I thought it was all right. You know, I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to sort of have it every day, but
Yes.
I think it was quite nice.
Ian, put that in your notebook. That's on your to-do list.
Oh, God.
To try not to. I think Ian is very adventurous with food, so he might like it.
Yes.
What is it?
It's fermented soybeans,
Yes. Fermented soy.
and it really is sticky. It just sticks to everything.
Fills you up and blocks the channels.
Yeah, I think that's it. But I quite liked it. I really did.
No, Zeb. No, absolutely not.
Oh God.
Strobing, no.
Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, that's not.
No,
Even me. Yeah, nasty.
no, because that you have to open it underwater,
Yeah.
and it's banned from all airlines.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to bring it on board.
Right, it's time to make a thumbnail, I think.
Oh,
Yes.
we need to
Find something. Oh, that street level album. That's a good. I looked at that this week, Nick, on just put it in the Google. It's got some bloody good tracks on it.
It has, hasn't it? But
Yeah.
but not all of them are complete because Ronco rammed on so much bleeding
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. They probably got round sort of royalties a bit as well, didn't they? With it?
Yeah. Plasmatics, Butcher Babies on here, but it's not the full song.
Yeah.
And I am going to put that up as well.
Maybe.
3, 2, 1. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Yeah, I'm off to the theatre on Monday to see Only Fools in Horses.
Oh,
Oh.
brilliant.
Yes, so I shall report back for because I know there's a lot of Fools and Horses fans worldwide on this. So,
Are you a thespian?
So
you
we're
are
famous in it.
Romy
You're
has
saying,
a
are
question.
you a thespian?
a thespian, yes, going to the theatre.
Does someone have the Burning Ambitions, a history of punk compilation?
No, I don't.
No, that's the one I haven't got. I've got 2 Minute Heroes. And
Yeah.
what's the other one I've got? Sounds of the Suburbs.
That's quite a good comp, actually, Sounds of the Suburbs. So
Yeah.
a history of punk comp. So is that presumably it's more than one album?
Yeah, Burning Ambitions, a history of punk.
I'll have to look that up. But I've got quite a few. I've got this is a really good CD collection.
Romy says it was released in the UK 1982.
Right, that's a really good.
Oh, that looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's lots of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CDs and a nice booklet. Even though it does reference a band I can't stand.
Yeah, look at that.
Devo.
No, the Ramones.
The Ramones. Yeah.
I think
There's no end of punk compilations out there, and I've got quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Oh. Oh no.
Oh my God.
Oh, Darren.
Lovely, yeah. What a combination. It's
I think on that bombshell.
I need to go and clear my sinuses after that.
We'll end it. We'll see you all next week anyway, and have a good weekend.
Yeah.
So bye.
God bless.
Cheers, folks. Bye-bye. Bye.
Goodbye.